Almost to freedom. I started out no more a bunch of rags on a Virginia plantation. Linda's mama was my maker. Ms. Rachel done a fine job putting me together, taken extra time to sew my face on real careful with thread. Embroidery they call it. I don't have no hair. Ms. Rachel just made a bandana from old cloth and tied it around my head like she wore. I used to think about having some hair, but now it don't bother me none. When she done sewin', Ms. Rachel give me to her little girl. Lindy hugs me hard and says, "Your name be Sally. We gonna be best friends. From the first day when Lindy be somewhere else, I be with her. I like how Lindy holds me at night and don't even mind when she rolls over me in her sleep. Being Lindy's doll baby is a very important job." Ms. Lindy and Ms. Rachel pick cotton. I be there too. Lindy ties me round her waist with a rope. The knot's kinda loose, and after a while I fall to the ground. "Sally, you're getting yourself all dirty," Lindy says. "Now you stay put." Ms. Rachel wipes sweat from her brow and shows Lindy how to tie me on tight. The overseers hollers, "Get it up there," like he's talking to a couple of horses. He's riding over carrying his whip. Ms. Rachel and Lindy quick start picking again. The work be hard, but the long days seem a bit easier with everyone singing, "Sing low, sweet chariot, comin' for me, carry me home." Come sundown, we sit round and listen to stories about little critters foolin' big ones and about slaves outsmartin' masses. These is the best times 'cause there's lots of laughin' and singin'. But when folks start talkin' about something called freedom, their faces turn serious in the firelight. Some say you can buy freedom, but it's so dear we never heard of anybody ever could. Seems the only other way to get it is to run away to a place called North. The way they talk freedom must be a good thing, but after what happened to Lindy's papa, I ain't sure. Strangers chain Mr. Henry in a wagon and take him away. Massa sold him down the river. Is that what folks say? 'Cause he's trying to get freedom? Ms. Rachel, she cried and cried, Lindy too, and she hugged me so hard I think my insides'll bust out of my seams. After that, Ms. Rachel sit up at night looking at the sky. She holds Lindy and Lindy holds me. She rocks us, singing, steal away home. I ain't got long to stay here." One day, Lindy gets whipped by the overseer. She didn't do nothing but ask Massa's son how to spell her name. Well, the boy tells on Lindy and Massa comes out and says, "We'll make sure you people forget all about reading and writing." He makes everyone stop working to watch. Eyes tied to Lindy, but when the whipping starts, I slip out and fall. My face is on the ground, but I hear the overseer's black snake whip. I hear Lindy screaming. I hear Miss Rachel crying. And when it's over, I see cuts on Lindy's back. While she was doctoring Lindy, Miss Rachel whispered a prayer. "Lord, don't let Massa be sellin' my baby like she done my papa." Later, Lindy sits me on a stump, her cheeks wet with tears. "Someday, Sally, we won't be doing what Massa says. We be going to freedom." I'm thinking, Lord have mercy. One night, Lindy's sleeping beside me like always. Then there be whispering, and Lindy's getting her clothes on. The sun ain't awake yet, but the field workers is always up for dawn, so I don't think much of it. Ms. Rachel all dressed and telling Lindy, "Hurry now, but hush." Lindy grabs me up and ties me to her. The way Lindy's heart's beating, I know something important's happening. Lindy takes Ms. Rachel's hand, and we sneak out behind our shack and run into the night. I know I ain't running, but it feels like I am. Feels like I'm flying. Branches slap us along the way like we're there scolding, warning us to go back. But Ms. Rachel don't pay no mind. She keeps running. "My feet, Mama. They're burrs," Lindy says. "I know, baby," Ms. Rachel says, "but we gotta keep on." We run for a while, then hide under the brush. Then we run some more. Lindy's breath hard, but says, "Don't worry, Sally. Mama says we'll be with Papa soon." Soon don't come real soon. But sure enough, Mr. Henry's waitin' by the river. He hugs Miss Rachel. Then he lifts Lindy into the air and me with her. "Papa!" Lindy says, laughing. But Mr. Henry covers her mouth and holds her close. "Quiet now. We gotta get to the boatman and cross over." We hurry along the bank to where the man is waiting with his skiff. Without one word, we climb in. The night is dark as inside of a possum. It's dead quiet except for the sound of the boatman pushing and pushing and pushing his oars. His face soaks up little splashes of water as we glide along. On the other side, Ms. Rachel squeezes the boatman's hand. Lindy's papa leads us through the night woods. We run and hide till we come to a house with a lantern glowing soft in the window. We crouch behind the barn. Lindy's papa calls out, "Woo-hoo!" Like a hooty owl. The lantern goes out. A white man wearing eyeglasses steps out of the dark. He motions us to follow him to the back of the house. Inside the kitchen, a woman with silver hair opens a door to a storeroom. The man lifts a rug and takes some boards from the floor and uncovers a ladder leading into pitch darkness. "It's small and a bit chilly," the man says, "but it's the safest place we've got." He hands Ms. Rachel a lantern. "I've put some blankets and water down there, and I'll get you some food," the woman says. "Much obliged, ma'am," Mr. Henry says, and he climbs down the ladder. The woman hands Lindy a pillow. Ms. Rachel's friend who worked in the big house told us about pillows, but I've never seen one. The secret room is tiny, but not much smaller than the shack's Massa's had us in. Ms. Rachel spreads 2 blankets on the dirty floor, and everyone except me takes some water. Lindy lays me on a pillow. It's the softest thing, like a cloud from heaven. The silver-haired woman hands down a stew pot, bowls, some bread, and cheese. Then she closes up the floor. Ms. Rachel serves up supper. Nobody talks, too tired, too scared. They sop up the last of their stew with bread. "Sleep now," Papa says to Lindy and me. Lindy's whispers she needs to make water. Mr. Henry points to a bucket in the corner. "Privy be too dangerous." After Lindy holds me close, like always, she lays her head on a pillow and smiles. "Night, Sally," she whispers. "We're almost to freedom. If I could, I'd smile too." Seems like we just get to sleep and Ms. Rachel is shaking Lindy. "Come on, baby, quick." "Why?" Lindy asks. "Slave catchers," Mr. Henry whispered, blowing out the lantern. Lindy ties me around her waist. I guess sleep still has her cause the knot ain't tight. Miss Rachel tucks some bread and cheese in her apron, and she and Lindy follow Mr. Henry up the ladder. They're scrambling fast, and I feel myself slipping. Then I'm falling till I hit the dirt. Lindy calls my name. The silver-haired woman is closing up the floor. "Lindy, wait!" But she couldn't hear me, 'cause I ain't got no voice. The boards shut out the light. When the floorboards open again, sunlight shines in. The silver-haired woman comes down the ladder. "There you are," she says, picking me up. "Your little mama didn't want to leave you." She straightens my dress. There's just wasn't time. She set me on blankets and tucked it around me. "Sleep tight," she says, and carries the lantern and privy bucket up the ladder. Then she closes the floor. If I could have made tears, them blankets would have been wet clean through. I want Lindy, but I know she ain't coming back. Can't. The loneliness swallows me up. I give a lot of time to think about Lindy and her folks, where they was, and if they ever got to freedom like they was wantin'. I give a lot of time to pray they did, and I give a lot of time grieving for myself. I wish the silver-haired woman would have come, but she don't. Nobody comes. After a spell, I'm thinking maybe slave catchers is watching this house. Maybe the hiding place ain't safe. Maybe I lay right here for the rest of my days. Then one day, praise the Lord, the boards be movin'. Somebody's comin' down the ladder. If I'd be flesh and blood heart, it would be pumping like Lindy that night we run off. I see light from the lantern and a woman wrapping up a little girl in a blanket. The child shivering, more scared, I think, than cold. Her eyes look tired and tearful. The woman picks me up and says, "Willa, darling, this must be the dolly that Mrs. was mentioning." She blows the dust off my face and holds me closer to the lantern. "Mighty fine stitchin'. Can I keep her?" the girl asks. Her mama nods, and Willa hugs me so hard I think my insides'll bust out of my seams. Two men come down the ladder. They talk about going north to freedom, their faces serious in the lamplight. When they settle in for sleeping, Willa holds me in her arms and whispers, "Your name, Belinda. We're gonna be best friends." Belinda, I like that. Sounds like Lindy. My face don't change, but my smile inside. Remembering the crackling of straw mattress when Lindy rolled over me in her sleep. I sure do miss her, but I'm mighty glad to be Willa's doll baby. It's a right important job. I was inspired to write Almost to Freedom during a visit to the Museum of International Folk Art in Santa Fe, New Mexico. There was a display of a black rag doll from the 1800s and 1900s. Immediately caught my attention. The majority of the dolls were certainly handmade from scrap cloth. My husband read the museum guidebook. A few said to have been found in one of the hideouts on the Underground Railroad, suggesting their use by black children. As I admired the exhibit, my husband leaned in and whispered, "There's a story in that." Yes, I thought, if only the dolls could talk.